Yo, what's up? Gw1 FPL with my first video, and as we've all been waiting for FPL to come out, not even price reveals yet, some sites like FPL Team, which is what I'm using today, FPL Live, I think have also done it, have come out with like a draft where they guessed player prices, stuff like that, and you can make your first draft. So I thought today I'd put together what I think my first draft may look like. Probably going to have like 4 correct players. But starting off with this, I think my first draft is going to be a 4-4-2. Just because of how much value those defenders had last year, I'm probably not going to have a 3-back. But I'm not going to go to like a 5-back like I've seen some people doing and play like 1 up top. Because I want to be able to move to like most players within like 1 or 2 moves. And playing 1 up top, if quite a few strikers pop up, let's say Bamford starts well coming back from injury, DCL's killing it, Ivan Toney's being better than ever, maybe Mitrovic is doing really well, and I want like 2 or 3 of these guys, and I've got a 1 striker team, moving to them is a nightmare. I basically have to wildcard to get some of them in. So I don't think there's any way I start the season with 1 striker, but 3 strikers with the options we have right now and the seasons a lot of them have come off, probably also not likely. But with all that said, I'm going to start off doing me bench, and because we're playing 2 up top, let me look for a budget striker. So at 4.5 million, I'm going to avoid the promoted clubs because I'm seeing some Bournemouth players here like low and more, who I imagine are at least 5.5. They both got a lot of appearances last year. Anthony played pretty much every game. There's no way he would. Lewis Grabban was Forest's top scorer, I want to say. But actually, saying I wouldn't go for a promoted side forward, Keenan Davis maybe at 4.5. So I'll put him in for now. I mean, it's the first draft before the games come out, and it's a 4.5 mil striker. Like, I don't think anything's in concrete there. Next on, moving on to a 4.5 centre mid, or just a mid actually. Probably looking through Basuma, but I guess more of a minutes risk Tottenham now. I saw Douglas Luiz, if he was 4.5, yeah, sure, I'd take him. Oriel Romeu, guaranteed 2 points, really. And then we get down to the promoted sides, and there's like Philip Billing, who got, I think, 20 goal contributions. I don't think he's going to be in there. Definitely not at 4.5. So I guess I'll just go for, where's Douglas Luiz? Yeah, I'll just put Douglas Luiz in, because, you know, I mean, he starts most games for Villa. I think he's sometimes on set pieces, if I'm correct, depending on who's on the field. But yeah, just a solid 4.5 option. Nothing really stand out, but your 4.5 mid never is. Hey, just a quick thing while you're watching this video. This is my first ever video on the channel. So right now I have 0 subscribers while I'm making this. So if you want to be in the first few to subscribe and you like what you're seeing so far, be sure to do so. Anyway, enjoy the rest of me building this team. Now for the defender spot on the bench, I think this would be a 4.5 defender, not a 4. Unless we were to have an obvious playing like 4 million defender. And something I want to bring up here is there's a little thread on Twitter I found. And in it has defences to rotate, so I think I'm going to use this. And the first one is Brighton Villa. Brighton, quite a good defence in underlying numbers. Villa, not so much. I think they were better. I think they were okay in underlying numbers. They've got players like Luca Dean and Matty Cash, who are both fairly good assets. Or at least, I mean, Luca Dean wasn't really a good asset last year, but Matty Cash was, and Luca Dean has been at some points in the past. Then Brentford and Newcastle. I probably won't go for this because I think I'm going to go for a Brentford keeper, and I don't know if I necessarily want to double up on Brentford. I'm not entirely against it because, I mean, Brentford were pretty good. And then the final one, West Ham and Wolves, and I think this is the one I'm going to have, assuming at least one of them has a playing defender at 4.5. Right now, Wolves have like a couple. Connor Cody was a standout one from last year. I think was one of the best, if not the best, 4.5 defender last year. So I mean, if he holds that price, which he might go up to 5, depending on how that Wolves defence is valued, I'll get him in. Then the guy I'll rotate with him from West Ham would probably be from here, this list, Soufal, because I imagine Soufal stays at 5, which is what they have him on at here. If not, Craig Dawson at 5 pops up with the odd goal. Happy with either of them. Just assuming you can get in on that West Ham defence at 5 or 4.5 And the Wolves defence at 4.5, I think I'd do something like this. Then for my final option on the bench, a 4.0 keeper. As I mentioned earlier, I think I want to go Brentford. I don't think their backup keeper is 4.0 on this. I don't think Fernandez is. No. Then I guess I'll just get, Steele in from Brighton. Mainly because, Steele, I believe is still second choice at Brighton. And they had no playing goalkeepers there. Now let me find Raya. Goalkeeper, where's Raya? Here he is. He goes straight in. Now there's a couple of obvious ones. So where's Trent? Here we go, Trent. If he was 0.5 more than Robertson, I always go Trent there. But with the small chance he's more than that, maybe, possibly, I could go Robertson. If there was a 1 million difference, it'd be considered. Then Salah goes in, that's also quite easy. Now, for me, especially with the prices they have on here, I don't think I go Haaland. If Kane was to be 1 million cheaper, I think Kane at 1 million cheaper for me with pretty decent fixtures, I know it's not as good as Man City's, is a no-brainer. I think no matter what, I have a premium mid and a premium striker, just so I'm able to move quite easily between. I briefly considered in my head, would I be okay with starting with De Bruyne and Salah? And the answer in the end was probably not, just because of how hard it's not hard, it's 2 moves to get either like Kane or Haaland. But the chances I want to like jump on Haaland quite early are quite high, or if I want to jump on Kane, because there's a good chance I'd start with Haaland if it wasn't this million difference. If Kane's 12, Haaland's 12.5, Haaland is playing a lot of pre-season minutes, I'd probably go Haaland. And knowing how high his ownership is, I think he's probably going to be an effective like 100% ownership for the first couple of game weeks. So I've got Kane in for now. That's based on if he was 1 million cheaper. So I think I've kind of got my must-haves in. I should probably actually rotate Sofal and Connor Cody, because game week 1, Cody starts. Because as this tweet shows, that's the rotation pattern. I think I'll just build the rest of the defence. Someone I think we're all looking at is Ben Chilwell. Now, he'll go in now. That one thing that massively depends on is if Chelsea stick to the back three. Obviously, they've had a lot of defenders part. I think Alonso, Christensen, Rudiger, Azpilicueta may be going. I believe they did extend his contract by a year, but Barcelona were interested in him at a point. It's unclear whether he stays. Either way, they're going to be a lot thinner there. So if they were to go to a 4-back, Chilwell, he's not in the team. But I guess we'll see in pre-season what shape they're playing. And yeah, was it? Because Chilwell was brilliant the 2 times he played last year. And then for my final defender, currently I would have Cancelo in there, but the reason I won't for this draft is it looks like Man City are getting Cucurella, and if Man City get Cucurella, Cancelo's not in my draft because he's going to be 7.5 million, and with Cucurella will play a decent amount of football, and maybe when Cucurella plays at left back, Walker gets dropped and Cancelo comes in at right back. If Cancelo's understudy at left back instead of Zinchenko is Cucurella, and then you have Walker at right back, I don't think I hate Pep Roulette with a burning passion. All that said, I'd probably maybe go in with Ruben Diaz, assuming Laporte and Diaz are the same price as they are here. If Laporte was 0.5 cheaper, maybe I go Laporte. Although we were saying similar things with John Stones last year, and they just kind of switched. With John Stones being first choice, not last season because that just finished, but the one before. And then Laporte just suddenly being first choice the season just gone. So I'd probably just go Ruben Diaz, because I'm fairly certain he'd be starting. And I'd need some kind of City assets, I think, with the fixtures they have. Moving on from that, I guess I go to striker, because I'm fairly sure I know who I want here. I'd want probably a mid-price striker. I think that man is Ivan Toney. I mean, I'll give a scroll through here. They have Bamford at 8. I'm never going Bamford at 8. If Bamford comes down to, let's say, 7, which I don't think is too unlikely, considering I think he played 600 minutes last year, I could be on him. Callum Wilson, I could be on him. What do they have Vardy at on here? 10.5. I think he comes down from that. Or maybe not. What was he at the beginning of last year? I think it was 10.5. But I think out of all of this, I'd probably just go Tony. Although, Bamford, I've got an eye on him. Leeds fixtures aren't horrible. They're not brilliant by any stretch of the imagination, but I think I here brings them up. Wolves, Southampton, then Chelsea, Brighton, Everton, Brentford, Forest, then Man United. As an opening 8, it's pretty decent. I mean, Bamford, I've got an eye on him. Now we move on to mids. So I think mids, first of all, looking here, I'd probably get Saka. If he was it, I think it's 8 million they've got him out on here. Yeah, 8 million. Yeah, I think I go for that, because I think other Arsenal mids, you'll have, Vieira, who's just signed, who has a lot of assists, but if you look at underlying data, he shouldn't have nearly as many assists. Then for other mids, I mean, maybe Gabriel Jesus, because he did play out wide quite a lot. Although I think, because we know he's going to play a lot of games at striker at Arsenal, he may stay a striker. But if he were to move to a mid, I could consider Gabriel Jesus. And then you have Smith Rowe, no rotation. Martinelli again with rotation, especially with them linked to Rafinha. I don't know how likely that is, but it shows they're in the market for another winger. He's already a bit of minutes risk. He wasn't really at the end of last year, but he could be rotated with Smith Rowe. I think I'd just go Saka, because he's nailed decent underlying numbers, was pretty good last year. Next up, moving on, I'm scrolling through Mason Mount. I wouldn't hate if he was 7.5 if we get up Chelsea's fixtures. Everton, Spurs, Leeds, Leicester, Southampton, West Ham, Fulham, Liverpool. Like, opening 8, pretty good. Mount is always good for minutes, and I think he got over 10 goals and over 10 assists. Yeah, I know he got double figures in both, which always looks a bit nice, doesn't it, on the stats page. So Mount I may consider, just because he's guaranteed minutes and it's a way into that Chelsea attack, but I don't know if I'm sold on him. Rafinha here always has good underlying numbers. Leeds fixtures I touched on earlier are pretty good. You know what, if Rafinha, I mean, even if he was to go to an Arsenal, let's say, I think Rafinha's in. If he were to go to Arsenal, I think Rafinha's maybe in instead of Saka. Although they kind of play the same position. So I think one of them would have to move to the left. That'd probably be Saka. I think he's played on the left wing more. I'm not really sure. But if Rafinha starts the season at Leeds and he's 7 million like they have on here, I think he's probably in my team. And then we have 6.5 for the final mid. Now scrolling through, we've got a few names. Buendia at 6.5 they have predicted. I think that'd be surprising after he had a very meh season. I guess maybe because the price... Did the price come out when he was at Norwich? I can't really remember. So I guess they're saying he just gets an extra 0.5 because he was priced last time being based off being at Norwich. Ward-Prowse at 6.5. He's a guy... Because all his returns are from set pieces, you can't really predict them. But he's someone who always just ticks over with a decent point score every year. He's probably not for me. And he's never a guy who has really high points per match. It's just he plays all the minutes and he ticks over with 10 goals a season or 10 goal contributions. Brian Mbeumo at 6. I don't hate it, but he's just going to be a striker next year, so I'm not really going to consider it. And I'm very open to not spending all 6.5 of this and then having 0.5 to work with. I'm so open to being able to do that. Also, with these prices probably being wrong, an extra 0.5 for a buffer zone. So looking at these 6.0s, no one really standing out to me. Maybe Harrison. I probably wouldn't want to double up Leeds, and I don't think Harrison had brilliant underlying numbers last year, but at 6 million he's looking like one of the better assets. Willock, Joe Willock. It's Joe Willock. Chris Willock's the one at QPR. Maybe I'm probably more interested in Bruno Guimaraes, or however you say it. Getting down, Ben Rama. If he was to go to Brentford, be the main creator there, piqued my interest. And then we get down into 5.5s. Oh, they have Ericsson down here. Not a chance Ericsson is 5.5. Scrolling down a bit more, I doubt there's any serious options at 5.5. Yeah, no, we're now down into the 5s. Okay, so, I really don't like many of those. Although actually, Saying that, I think all the promoted mids just seem to be, 4.5. And the fixtures are quite bad. But I'm not entirely against getting one of these. So we say 6.5 million for a mid. You look at Fulham here. Harry Wilson could be about that price. Forest, where is Brennan Johnson? Oh no, this is Forest. Wait, where's Brennan Johnson? Oh, is he? They priced Brennan Johnson correctly? Nottingham Forest. Do they have him as a striker? Where's Brennan Johnson? Oh, Brennan. Oh, yeah, Brennan Johnson is a 4.5 forward. And then Bournemouth. If we look here, Ryan Christie played out wide for them all season. And then where is he? I saw him earlier. Where's Billing? Yeah, they have Billing as a 4.5 on here. He got 20 goal contributions last year. I think out of the lot of them, out of ones I can pick, I'd probably go Harry Wilson. I think he got nearly 20 assists, about 10 goals, I think, around that mark. So I think he goes in, assuming he's 6 million. And I'd probably prefer Brennan Johnson to him, if I'm honest. But I literally cannot pick Brennan Johnson for a midfielder. Which, I mean, may be true. Although he did play out wide a fair bit last year. So this is what my first draft looks like. No Haaland, I think, is the big thing from it. The rest of it, I imagine, I haven't really looked at too many drafts. I imagine most of this is fairly template. It's going to be interesting to see how different this is to my actual final team going into game week 1. I mean, I think I'll have the keeper, Alexander-Arnold, Salah. And then outside of that, everyone could go. FPL, please release the game. Thank you for watching.